Hello BAME Farm fans. Today we have a different fun project going on. My dad's truck is kind of in the shop out here in the sun. It's a glorious sort of warm day here at the end of April. And we're using the forklift to hold up the back of the truck. So, why get out of jack when you can just let the tractor do all the heavy lifting? So if you remember, if you saw the video, I'm about bringing home the rototiller and getting it off. I did a nice close-up down here showing the leaf springs, which, they look pretty good because I have a lot of weight on the tractor right now, just coming back out after lunch. I got one side off, trying to see how things would go before I would show taking it all apart. Of course, I'm doing the better leaf spring, at least one that had more spring. Now, I do have them laid out over here. I laid out the springs. Hopefully I have them pretty well lined up. Everything looks fairly even on this bottom leaf. Trying to demonstrate how much they've sprung. Which, if you look here, this would be the front part of the spring, towards the front of the vehicle. There's a little bit of difference. And if you come to the back, well, there's a little bit more difference. About 2 springs off. Now, that's assuming I have these all pretty well lined up here in the middle. That, I guess the old ones are sprung a little bit, but I was really expecting them to be not as close. I expected the old ones to be flattened out more. Maybe it doesn't take much. But I've got the one started back in place. Well, it settled a little bit while we were at lunch. I got to lift the back of the truck back up to get this back down. But I ran into one world of a problem getting this off. I'll show that on the other side. We step across here. So the spring shackle and this little bracket going in between here, the top bolt, I have a nut facing me, so that's great to take apart. I have no place to slide the bolt out the back, so I have to take an extra nut apart. We didn't get new mounts here. We're going to reuse these, they look fine. So I got to take this bolt out. Well, for some reason on the other side, it was giving me all sorts of trouble. And I think there's a metal sleeve down inside this piece, inside the rubber. That sleeve was either bent or something, and I was fighting, just absolutely fighting tooth and nail to get that bolt out. So the bolt was a little rusty. Dad took the bolt in to do some measurements in case we got to find new ones. I mean, these are great. They look, shiny from the factory. But if I try to put this bolt in that hole, I get started, and I hit something. Now, if we can't tell, it almost maybe looks a little crooked, like it bends in there. I'm not sure about that. I mean, you can try to look through the hole. What do you see? Yeah, doesn't look bad from that angle. I try to stick it in from the other way, and yet again, doesn't make it very far. So, no. I guess I'll relift it up and I'm going to start disassembling the other side. I have 2 sides apart. Everything came apart real nicely, so I'll show you disassembly. Okay, so after doing this a few times on the other side, I found out the impact doesn't work for this. So we got to get out our giant ratchet. And a leverage multiplication device. Okay, a big old pipe. And hopefully that there's enough of our extension down in the socket. They don't make 1-inch drive deep well sockets. Maybe we should start another one. Once you break one loose, it gets easier. It's just picking the correct one. Like that one. And we weren't even tightly. This one I can get, that's a lot better. Because that front one wasn't sliding in very far. I tried using the impact. Didn't quite have enough brake force to get these to turn. Had them soaking in WD-40. 2 of these should come off real nicely with the impact. because I got them broke loose with the big wrench. They had a little less thread above the nut, so that short little socket, so we could on it. Now there's one. Yep, that's all of them. Now before I take any more weight off, because we have settled a little bit, that's the only joy of using a forklift, is that you shut the tractor off, it might settle slightly. So yet again, handy extension. Since we have just a nut right here, I'm going to try to get that loose. Hopefully the weight will help me by not letting the bolt turn. I already tried the impact. Didn't work. So getting one click and a little bit of turn every time. Oh, I got 2 clicks. Nope. And we got more clicks. And we can go ahead and pop this off. Now since we got it started, impact time. Of course, it's spinning, isn't it? Now I sort of wonder what sort of metric these are supposed to be. That's a 13/16 wrench. And voila, that's ready. Time for a lift. Well, this didn't leave the axle on the ground, or off the ground. That's a little entertaining, to say the least. I have to help it out. There we go. There's a little alignment pin down here that had to fall out. I'd say that's a good enough for now. Now up front here, this one has a little chunk of metal on the nut to keep it from turning. So it should be fairly easy to break loose. Didn't even have to use the breaker bar. Kind of surprised. Yeah, right there's that kind of tab of metal hooked to the back of the nut. Oh, I guess I could get the impact to make this quicker. Wow, this is interesting. This one seems to have more thread than I remember for the other side. But yeah, that came apart real nicely. That's what I'm talking about. There's like the tab of metal on the nut to hold it in place. You only need one wrench or impact or socket or whatever. Okay, now the real fun part is going to be this guy. I struggled and struggled. I hope it goes better on this side. I have a 13/16 for that 1-inch drive ratchet. So on the little half C here, I got that all set up. Yet again, our force multiplier device. And what's annoying about this side is I got to lift. I can't use my weight like I did on the other side. This really helps getting around the tire. I hope this side isn't bent like the other one was. Yeah, I gotta take this apart because there's no room to get this bolt out the backside. Most annoying thing ever. It's not springing back like it's rubbing too bad. Like there's so much, I don't want to say friction, but twist or grab or from whatever was happening, if it was rust or what, that the was trying to turn the rubber inside the mount. Well, I've given up on the cheater bar. it's still not going much better than the other side. And I can't use the impact. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's binding and trying to turn the rubber, so when I lift up and it bounces back, the rubber inside is turning it back. Oh boy, isn't this just delightful? I was so spoiled when these bolts came apart so nicely, and the shackle bolts. Oh, and the U-bolts from the axle went so smoothly, and now this is just being a pain in the butt. So I lifted the bed up to give myself more range of motion up here before I hit the bed. Put the safety on for all the safety nuts out there. Now it'll give us a longer range of motion. I'm just gonna sit here and spend some time lifting up my cheater bar. It's kind of like bend and twist and push. Kind of like burpees, but you're getting something done. Now, good news is I got the nut off. Yet again, it's one of those little guys with a tab to hold it in place. Now I can turn this not too bad by hand. I'm gonna have to get something back in here between the the shackle and the bolt, and hopefully pull it out. I mean, it turns okay in this position, but I need to be able to pull it out. And the rest of these, like, that's how easy they moved. I could get them out by hand, so I don't know what is so special about this bolt down here just being a pain to do anything with. Well, it's a bit later in the day. We're back. We got the new shackle mounts for the springs because, I don't know, rust or something really messed these up. Couldn't get the bolt through. We got new bolts. They slide right through. So we can go ahead and assemble this finally now that it's somewhat later in the day. Had lots of other things to do while we waited to go get parts. There we go. We did that in the proper order this time. Now we can tighten it all up. Well, something's being cut. You keeping an eye on everything, making sure we fix your truck right, Shiloh? Okay, well that was a massive pain in the butt, getting that lined up. Okay, terrible, stupid problem. You see that hole? It's supposed to go over that bolt. It doesn't. And that's too big. Well, we find ourselves out in the garage. Got the Dremel all set up, ready to go. Try to grind a little bit of this hole out, since it's probably too hard to drill effectively. Well, for all you safety nuts out there, I found some safety glasses. Don't know whether I can see anything. Now more cutting on the back side to hopefully have it fall in half. I don't know if they make deep weld 1-inch drive sockets.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But it'd be very convenient. Well, once we get these tightened, this project's done. I guess it looks a little bit taller. The springs aren't so relaxed. Now I can still make it move a little bit.
The other side was the side that you just lean on and get sink about 6 inches.